Ho, 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 ho. It's the big news. See? We were just waiting for some big news to happen, and then we do a show again. We knew Jordan Love was going to sign the biggest contract in the history of all time today, so that's why we scheduled the show for tonight. Actually, we didn't know that. It just happened, like less than an hour ago. Jordan Love, Ben, now the most highest signing bonus in the history of the NFL, $155 billion in new guarantees, and overall a 4-year extension of $220 million. I call it a big ass contract. That's the big news. There's other news we'll talk about too, but that's the breaking news.
I don't want to be a party poop.
Don't be a poop.
It's our first show since the draft because we just don't give a rat's ass anymore, but also because of stuff like this. So apparently you can suck, and I mean miss wide open guys left and right for half the season, and then all of a sudden do kind of good, but some of it is kind of by taking crazy chances. Like some of his passes that he completed were crazy.
Yeah.
Or complete passes to wide open freaking dudes most of the time. A lot of these touchdowns, the Musgrave touchdowns, the Wicks, well, not Wicks, but I'm just saying.
I'm going to stop you right there because
I've never seen a place where you can have you can have a good, like you're a stud for half of a season.
Yeah.
And then you're the highest paid guy in the history of all time. I don't understand how that happened. Even Aaron Rodgers, after his year, right, and they signed him to a new contract, he wasn't the top freaking contract, his second contract that he got with the Pack, right, after his rookie one. It wasn't even close. It wasn't even close. But and I don't blame Jordan Love.
No.
I blame the NFL as a whole. Like these guys,
yeah.
I blame the Packers because they do this a lot where they're like, we got to make him the highest paid guy. And when you keep making your guy the highest paid guy, then the next guy who wants to get paid is expected to be the highest paid guy. And they've done it over and over and over. And except for, of course, Aaron Jones and he got screwed. But the other guys, Rashawn Gary and all these, everybody. David Bakhtiari, Devontae Adams, Aaron Rodgers, Jair Alexander is still the highest paid cornerback, second highest paid defensive back in the NFL at this point. And now Jordan Love is the highest paid at his position, or most guaranteed money, or whatever you said to start off, or whatever it is. And I'm okay with it because that's what they do, and that's what all these teams are doing. I mean, you have a guy who shows up and he plays half a year good, and then you give him a crap ton of money, apparently. Could be worse.
You're right, but the about the wide open guys, the one thing I'm going to say where I was going to stop you is that isn't that what we wanted Aaron Rodgers to do, was run the plays or run the offense so he could have wide open guys to throw to? And Jordan Love did that most of the time. So, give him credit for that.
But the key to that point is, Jason, is that anybody can throw to the wide open guy.
Yes.
You don't have to pay a guy a gazillion dollars to throw to a wide open guy. A matter of fact, the 49ers said, hey, we have the last pick in the draft. We traded 3 first-round picks and our whole freaking team away to draft the guy, and they gave up on him and traded him for nothing.
That's
because
true.
They realized this other guy who they picked last in the draft is better, if not just as good. Yeah. Because the system works and the players are wide open. Now, I'm not saying Jordan Love is a scrub. I think he proved a lot last year. He's shown he can read the defenses before the snap. He adjusted some guys. There's a couple cool, like the touchdown to Dontavian Wicks that one time where he made Tucker Kraft come in and pick up the blitz, and he's reading. He's doing a great job. And I'm not saying he doesn't deserve money or deserve the money or whatever, or some sort of money. He was underpaid at his position in the NFL, and I totally agree with that. Now, he was still under contract this year, so whatever. But that's great. It's fine. I mean, where the market is, he fits based on what he's at the end of the year. But as a total player, he's not that. He just isn't. I would take 10 guys over him.
Well, I'll tell you what I'm disappointed by. I'll
5
tell
guys.
you I'll tell you what I'm disappointed by. Is I expected the Packers to go to this or close to this. Okay. Right? Top of the market, whatever. But what I wanted to see, because of the fact that he only has 10 really, 10, 11 really good games that he showed, I wanted to see more of like a Pat Mahomes length contract, 7, 8 years.
I don't want to see that.
No, but I
He
mean,
still hasn't proven he's like the man.
I know, but then
That's
look,
the thing it's so crazy about.
they believe in him. They believed in him so much when they drafted him. They believe in him now. They've seen him every day. They've seen the practice. They've seen him for years, right? Now
Yes,
the game stuff. Okay.
I
So
agree
they
with
see,
that. I think as far as a player or as a person and a guy you can
right.
count on and trust as a
Yep.
leader of your team, he's pretty damn good. I don't
Yeah.
have an issue with that at all.
But what I'm saying here is you have them basically the 4-year contract. In 4 years, you're gonna. I mean, if he does well, then you're gonna be the price is going up again. Whereas the advantageous part of this of making him the highest paid guy at this time is to get that more years on the contract so you can have him cheaper later in the contract, right? So by then, when all the other prices go up for these other guys, he's down here a bit and you're fine with that, even if he's not like one of the top 10 quarterbacks in the league at that point, shows to be kind of a little bit better than average. So that's what I would have liked to seen if they were going to do it, because it's clear they're going with him. They're on the love train. So I wanted to see a longer deal if they were going to do this. The problem I have is the 4 years, because now in
Well,
3 years you're going to up it again.
is this a rip up redo from now, or is it 4-year extension onto what he has now? So it would be like 5 years if you conclude this year. Like, is he
Right.
on the contract till 2029? He's on the team. Is that what it is? That's 5 years. That's not terrible. And he's 24 now, right? 25. He'll be 25 this year during the season, or when's his birthday? I don't know. But anyways, it'll be right around 30.
I know, but you know what happens with these quarterback, unless the league does something to get this under control,
Yeah.
it's just going to keep going up and up and
Right.
up.
I mean, it's not. I don't blame the Packers. I don't blame Jordan Love. I don't blame anybody. And Judah Time is saying it's extended. And Judah Time, you're right. There's things that Jordan Love has in his game that are not the same. So, like, not anybody can play. Like, he does deserve, like, definitely a higher contract than most people, obviously, because he can do things other people can't do. Now, there's things that he was touted as, and we were told that he is not. He is not an athletic, like, freak or anything like that. Like, we've watched him try to get a 1 yard on 4th and 1, and he freaking gets tackled and fumbles the ball and all kinds of dumb stuff he's done. He can't. He's not. Aaron Rodgers was more athletic in moving the chains than Jordan Love is now. But like you said, Jordan Love is much better at getting the ball to the open guy in a place where he can make a play after he catches it. For a lot, especially throwing to the right. When he throws to the left, he's got issues. His other issue is also sometimes he throw awesome, crazy arm angles and off his back foot for no reason.
Right.
And his targets are off, and he needs to stop that. I hope that this year he fixes that. Like, hopefully they go back and they show him, like, dude, if you would have just, like, didn't throw all crazy stupid off your back foot, it would have been a perfect pass and we would have scored a touchdown on the play instead of guy having to wait for the ball to come down for 25,000 years or whatever the case is. Yeah. But what it does do is it gives the Packers this now another quarterback for 5 more years with the extension here. It's 5 years of top-notch quarterback play, which I think he is, and I think he has proven. Well, that's the best part, is he got better, right, throughout the year. He got better. He got more confident. It also seemed that, remember, like, I think that they were I don't know, they were almost like making him, like, holding him down. Not holding him down, but like not letting him just go, right?
Yeah, being safe with stuff.
Yeah, being safe with the play calls, being safe with them doing stuff. And because of that, it wasn't until, like, remember the game where they came back against Atlanta, where he was just, in the second half, he was just like, screw it, I'm just throwing the ball over the damn place like crazy, man. They came back and won because there was no more plays anymore. Like, they didn't call plays. They just did whatever the hell.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, they called plays, but I mean, it wasn't like, like genius Matt LaFleur play calls. It was just run around and I'm going to throw you the damn ball kind of stuff. Mm-hmm. And that's how he worked great. And when you can combine, and then in the second half of the year is when they finally were like, okay, we're going to let you throw downfield. we're going to give you more of an option to adjust things at the line of scrimmage and see things ahead of time. And he learned and he got better. And those are all things that are great. So what we need is to see him keep doing that now and continue to do that all year long. And hopefully that is the case. And the contract where it is, it's a little iffy. But what I will say is the talent level and the arm has potential, right? Like we've seen him do things that most guys can't do.
Mm-hmm.
And in the NFL, that's what you pay for.
Right.
If you have a guy who's a freak and can do things that other people cannot do, that already is like, like Sean Clifford. We like Sean Clifford. He's a solid guy. He's smart. The other day, they said it was like a downpour of rain in practice on Tuesday. And he has thrown some wobbly ducks and some crap because he can't throw in the rain because he doesn't have it right now in perfect conditions. We've seen him. He's very accurate. He's very smart, but he doesn't have the talent level that's beyond a normal guy, right? He's just a pretty good, solid, smart guy who can move your offense in right conditions. Where Jordan Love can take things over and become something special. Now, he can also do a classic Brett Favre, throw across his body in the middle of the field where there's 3 defenders there and throw a pick to end the game and end the season.
Yeah.
So he's got to get smarter on that and those type of situations. Why you would ever even do that, I don't know.
Right.
But it's, he hasn't proven, he hasn't done that much, right? He's not,
right. Yeah.
He's not 100% Brett Favre crazy stuff.
Yeah.
But he's also not 100% cautious Aaron Rodgers, who once the game's out of hand, I freaking take my foot off the pedal and we're just kind of coasting until we lose. He's a guy who wants to win. And that is something I can get behind too. So I'm excited. I'm glad it's finally done. I'm glad we can finally be like, okay, let's go. Can we get this guy going now? And that's cool.
Yeah. I mean, I guess for me, I didn't like him sitting out of practice. I kind of felt like I understand how I get that you don't want to get injured in practice and all that. I get it 100%, but not with the Packers. They pay injured dudes. They don't care, right?
True. That is true.
They pay dudes that are injured. They don't give a rip. They'll throw money all over the place to guys they believe in, whether they're injured or not.
That's true.
And I, because I really, and the other part for me is like, I understand how they they weren't sure exactly what they were going to get. They wanted to see improve some stuff. So they redid that deal last year and he paid, took less money last year and played for pretty cheap and all that. But he did have a contract that he was under at this point. And I would say, just get at your ass. Like they're working on the contract, get your ass out there. You're still under contract. Like just practice, man. It ain't a big deal. And they protect the quarterbacks all the time anyway. Like just give me a break. So anyway, that was the only part I was disappointed about. And the fact that I would have liked to see this probably a 7-year deal because they're going to commit to him anyway. So, because they always commit to their first round picks. Speaking of first round picks, anyway, Jordan Love, congratulations.
Hang on here.
You're a wealthy man. Take all the trips to Italy you want.
Hey, he got engaged. At least we don't have a weirdo who's never going to get married and never have kids and be a self-centered jerk ass who doesn't care about anybody but himself constantly. That's good, right?
So glad the Aaron Rodgers circus is gone. We also have to thank Jordan Love for that, for making so many people forget about Aaron Rodgers so fast. It was so easy. Remember all the people for ages and ages? Oh my God, what do we do if we get rid of him? What's going to happen? What do we do? No one else. Oh, okay. Wait, who's Aaron Rodgers? That weirdo that is tearing apart the Jets right now. Go ahead.
Thank God. Here, I want you to share this screen here. If you can.
Yep.
You got it up?
Love. Yep.
Okay, so this is Jordan Love's. It's really cool. If you go to oh crap, what is this called again? Overthecap.com. They have this validation thing for contract validation. So like what your contract was and what, like, I think they must average like a PDF or a PFT, whatever, that Pro Football Focus, those guys, PFF, those like that score plus amount of plays you play plus your stats, and like it mix it all together to make this validation thing. And based on his stats from last season and his grades and all that sort of thing, compared to other quarterbacks, right? His pay should have equaled 36.18 million last season, even though he made like 13.5, right? And that's with, let's take a look. If you look, they have a graph down here that shows, so that's the whole season as a whole. So if you look at this graph, so like they have the high of 60 million here for like a quarterback's like the highest per season number, right? And if you look here, like the green stat, that's where his contract was. The red stat is his cash value for, they're talking about this season, but this is before, they don't have the update stats for the new contract in here, but never once did he ever perform below what his contract was last year, which is saying something. And if you look at his, from week 9 on, he only had one game below $30 million, and everything else was 40 million, 35, 37, 42, 50. You know, the last game, 46, 37. You know what I mean? There's only that one stinker in week 14, which must have been the Tampa Bay game, where he was trying too hard because Baker was just crazy. And he just, you know, he went right after Devondre Campbell all over the place every time.
That's right.
But anyways, what I thought was interesting or very cool here is you see the progression, you know, and no performance is always perfectly a straight line up, right? But he started off pretty rough, right? And gradually over the season got much, much better. But never once was his contract, you know, higher than what his performance was. As a matter of fact, it was he performed much, much higher than his contract. And hopefully we'll see a lot more this season of the between 30 and 50 millions, which, and now he's making 50, whatever he's making per year. I don't know, 50 something million per year.
Average of 55. Yeah.
Okay. So he never hit that last year, but I'll show you some other graphs later on in the show where nobody really hits that. Like nobody hits like these high paid guys. Like I don't know how many, like especially a Packers. None of the Packers hit that. But there are some consistent guys, and there are some guys who are right around where they got paid. And then there are guys who go well beyond their pay. But anyways, I thought that was interesting and cool to see that, you know, he's proven at the end of the year that he's worth some money. He's worth to be a top 5, 10 quarterback, right? That's really exciting. I mean, for him. And if his trajectory still is going up, then the 55 million, you know, 2 years from now, that 55 billion, when other guys are making 62 and 65 because people will keep freaking paying crazy amounts of money for these guys. Now, as long as he honors that contract until the last year of it, you know, and doesn't pull, like, do you hear about Trent Williams? So Trent Williams of the 49ers still has 3 more years on his contract, but he didn't show up for 49ers training camp.
He's old too.
I know. And he still has 3 years on his contract, but he wants more money. Even though he's already been like the highest paid tackle when he originally signed his contract. And he's got 3 years left and he didn't show up for training camp.
Did he compare his price per snap to David Bakhtiari too much or what?
Yeah, probably. That's probably what he did. Which is
which Bakhtiari guy made all this money and didn't even play. I should get some more money.
But anyways, I really like that. So that over the cap, if anybody can go there, it's free to just go on, and it's got some pretty cool. That graph is cool. It's show, and I'm gonna, as we get through the show, we're gonna talk about some other guys, and I'm gonna show some more graphs, and we're gonna be shocked. We are gonna be shocked at some of them. That's all I'm gonna say. All the top, great, awesome Packers that we have.
Wait, will we be shocked? Or just
no, I won't be.
General Packer fan.
Yeah, general Packer fans would be shocked to see how much money we paid these guys and how much they were actually worth at the time. And I'm going to eat a little crow on one of them. I probably aren't going to show it, but the Aaron Jones contract from last year and the amount of times he played, he did not make the money he was paid comparative to other running backs at his position.
Sure.
You know, and that's the truth. And maybe that's why Goody let him go. But the other thing is we're still paying Aaron Jones $12.5 million taking up $12.5 million on our cap right now.
Yeah.
And he's playing for the Vikings. This is Zadarius Smith all over again. We're paying a guy $12.5 million on the cap to go play for the Vikings.
The Packers will pay, and I get other teams have situations like this too, but the Packers seem to pay guys a lot for either not being on the team or being on the team and not doing a lot. Like being very low impact players, they pay them really well, or being injured and and just like Eric Stokes and whoever else, and they play on the team. Anyway, Dave Bakhtiari, other examples. So here, I wanted to get to this part. If you've come back with us and you check out the show, thank you. And we're going to do some things a little different as we get through stuff. Ben had some different ideas about doing things a little differently and not just focusing on Packers, and that's fine. We'll probably still talk Packers when it's relevant.
Yeah, we do like a Packers show, but like I think we should do like a Packers show on Tuesday or what, like, you know, after the game. Okay. But our Friday night show will be more of just hey, you know, like a hangout, talk about different stuff, you know, culture stuff and sports stuff and all kinds of, and then we could have guests on. Hopefully they can come on and whatever and just have fun. And like it used to be back during the pandemic, like when we had the pandemic, now everybody was at home and doing nothing. So it was way more fun because everybody was home and could come on.
I still am.
Which is different now. Yeah, you know, I still go sit at home and do nothing to it, but that's besides the point. But my kids are both going to be in college, so I'm going to have all the time in the world to, well, unless they need me to go out there and grab them. Or
you got to prep some. You got to prep some Ben's top tens and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking about doing. Is some more of that stuff.
Okay.
And also just talk about, like, I'm a big Caitlin Clark fan now. I mean, I don't know.
You're all over the.
I'm even just regular WNBA. I'm starting to like it. I'm liking other players. I'm liking the team somewhat.
It's good basketball. They play together, and for the most part, there's not a lot of.
Yes, well, at least basketball. Some teams, but like the Liberty and some of these teams, they're very good. Like they move the ball. There's passing. Oh my God! There's taking taking a good shot. There's good team defense. There's like effort the entire game. It's like crazy. There's no one-on-one crap all the time, and it's crazy to watch. It's like it's actual like watching good basketball. Mm-hmm. And I like it. So, you know, I don't know if anybody, I'm sure everybody probably checked it out now, but it goes beyond Caitlin Clark, but it what got me into the thing. I'm like, well, okay, I hear about this Caitlin Clark constantly. Let's watch some of these freaking games and see how good she is. And she's damn good. She passes the ball like a frick crazy. She reminds me of like Robert Pack back in the day, my favorite guy.
Ooh, that's what I was going to
Except she could actually hit threes. Where Robert Pack was a 6'2" guy who could dunk on you. But he also had those crazy passes where he'd yell at guys because they didn't like move. Like he saw the opening and the other guys wouldn't go, and he'd yell at them because like, "What are you doing? Go to the freaking open spot, you moron!" You know?
Yeah, yeah.
And when you watch,
he never would have wanted to play with Irvin Johnson.
No, none of those guys.
Not the Magic Irvin Johnson, the Bucks Irvin Johnson.
Bucks Irvin Johnson, yeah. But anyway, so yeah, I'm just saying, like, because to be honest, I just want to talk about something I'm excited about. And sometimes the Packers piss me off. Like earlier this week when they made a fucking oops. Sorry, I already swore. When they did a stupid freaking extension again.
Well, we'll talk about that in a minute. The thing I wanted to lay out for what our shows are going to be. Here's a couple of things I want to just put out there. Ben and I hadn't officially talked about this, but these are some ideas I had for like post-game shows. I wanted to have a little bit of structure to those following game shows so we didn't have so many plays to review. But I want Ben to come up with up to 5 sneaky good plays in the game. How's that for game review shows?
Well, don't calm down. I don't know if I can do all that.
Oh, come on. I'm just saying, like, not the whatever. And then you can have we'll still do our, you know, silent but deadly player of the week. We'll still do our regular. We probably have a beef. We'll keep it real. But we'll also give credit. We'll do a little bit of, you know, I'll listen to Matt LaFleur's garbage. If there's anything interesting, I'll tell you about it. We'll play a little sound. But we'll have a little structure to those game review shows without getting too crazy about it and making them take so long. But we'll still give you the good insight. And guaranteed, you will find out about guys that you're probably not paying attention to, because we don't like to always talk about the stars and what's obvious. We like to talk about the stuff that maybe wasn't so obvious to most fans. So that's kind of stuff we like to talk about. Congratulations, Jordan Love, for the big contract, though. Other big contracts. The other big news is Ben proclaimed and professed. Once, when he was so upset when Aaron Jones was shipped out of town or disrespected and then left.
Disrespected
100%. 100%. And that's what makes the Kenny Clark thing more bothersome to me. But anyway,
it's ridiculous.
So when that happened, you said you'd never do a poo show again. So I put my brain power to coming up with new potential show titles for us to consider, and we will review them with anybody that's on with us tonight. We'll see what you think. I was I was about 4 days into COVID when I did this brainstorming, so my brain was a little kind of wacky, but I think I came up with some good ones. And maybe one of those Ben will want to adopt, and
I
that'll
doubt
be
it.
our new show name. We don't know.
I
I don't
doubt
know.
it.
No,
I doubt
okay.
it. I doubt
Well,
it.
that's fine. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see what you think.
Here's the
too.
thing: we've already
Yeah.
got a theme song for the Pooh Show, and it's really good because I wrote it
Well, yeah,
and I sang it. So if I wrote it and I sing it, now I got to come up with a whole new dumb theme song, and then I got to go by Brad, and we got to do the recording, and it's too much work.
Too much work. All right, fine. All right.
So maybe, I don't know.
Yeah,
Whatever.
well,
And like I said, maybe the Packers show will be the Pooh Show, right? The Tuesday show will be the Pooh Show, and then we'll have the Friday show will be this show that you're saying.
Maybe.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And I was also thinking of maybe like Pooh Extra or Extra Pooh. Extra Pooh. I might sprinkle in some of those, like where Ben's not available. If something interesting comes up, I'll come up with a short Extra Pooh.
Maybe you should call those Turtlehead.
Turtlehead. All right. I'm going to give a shout out to a collaboration by Giant Jones, one of my favorites, and also Working Draft Beer, two craft beer companies here in Madison that combine to make a Baltic porter. And I usually don't like porters, but this one's actually drinkable for me. So I'm giving some credit. All right, Ben. Kenny Clark. The Packers, Brian Gutekunst said, so glad to, he's the right kind of person. He represents the organization the right way. He's a Packer guy, yada, yada, yada. And we like to keep those guys around. We reward them. Why? And I was like, come on, man. Come on. You do Aaron Jones the way you did, and then you pay this guy, what? 4 times more than you offered Aaron Jones.
It's honestly ridiculous. Wow. The impact of the player does not meet anywhere near the pay, even at his position. And it's a position that has gotten a lot of money lately, right? Between Chris Jones, the guys from the Jets, the guy from the Giants, right?
Yeah.
Aaron Donald. But those guys make plays. Mm-hmm. Those guys are difference makers. Those are guys who can stop drives by themselves. Kenny Clark is a good player who is slower than my grandma. And no offense, but my grandma's not around anymore, so he's not moving fast. Right? I mean, I hate to be a jerk.
Well,
but he's not worth that money. He just isn't. And they had a chance. They could have cut him.
Yeah.
This year.
Right.
And saved a bunch of money. And the thing
is, they saved $1 million.
That's right. By doing this, they saved $1 million on the cap this year. And screwed themselves for the next 2 to 3 years with a ridiculous amount of money going to this one player who's not even, and he's the highest paid guy on the team right now. Well, no, he's not. Jordan Love is, but because as of right now, but I mean, like earlier today, when I looked at the salary cap, Kenny Clark, number one, ahead of Jair Alexander. Who are both? They're both. Think about that. Our two top guys, Kenny Clark, Jair Alexander on defense. I mean, kind of ridiculous.
The other part is you're not desperate. Like TJ Slayton came on like gangbusters last year. Carl Brooks. You have all of these guys who need to be on the field, who showed out last year, who are young, who are not going to be even close to as expensive as this dude. And it doesn't make business sense. It doesn't make any sense. The production on the field doesn't work. The numbers don't work. He's 28. He's going to be 33 by the time this is done or whatever. It's like, why would you pay a guy that's in the twilight that much money? Like, I get it. If you wanted to keep Kenny Clark around and you wanted to say, we love him, he's a great guy. And let's be clear about this. The Packers generally keep good guys around. Okay. Jair Alexander, the exception. Aaron Rodgers, the exception for a long time. But the rest of these guys, Rashawn Gary, great guy, right? Kenny Clark, great guy. Okay.
Kenny has been dependable and he's been solid, very good player and a great guy, like 100%. And that's great.
Love it.
But the contract just doesn't. It just doesn't matter.
But if it meant a lot to him, because he said it meant a lot to him, he said many guys didn't get their third contract, and it means a lot to him to get it. Okay, then let's work out like a discount. Let's work out like hey, Kenny, you want to stay on our team for your whole career. We want to have you. Let's evaluate your value here as you're getting into the last years of your career. And let's get you for around like 10 million a year or something like that or whatever. Okay. I'm okay with it. But to pay him so much makes 0 sense on every level.
Yeah. Well, here, we're going to share something here because it needs to be talked about.
And the Packers repeatedly do this, Ben. I mean, right?
Yeah.
With their first round picks. And I don't know if it's like an ego thing. They just don't ever want to admit that they're wrong.
This isn't even a Goody pick, though. That's the thing that's so weird about it. If this isn't a Goody draft pick.
I understand.
This is a Ted Thompson draft pick, yet he's treated like it's a Goody draft pick.
Maybe Goody was the scout at the time, or one of the guys that found Kenny Clark and convinced him to draft Kenny Clark at that time. I don't know. We don't know that. But like Rashawn Gary, not a lot of impact. Kenny Clark, not a lot of impact. Jair, not a lot of impact. But they're first round picks, so we pay him a bunch of money and we sign him for top of the league. Here's your thing.
Okay, I just wanted to show a couple things here. So Carl Brooks.
So
if you look at the bottom, you see Anders Carlson, Carl Brooks. Carl Brooks is making $968,000 on the cap this season. Okay, now he had a pretty good year last year. I wanted to look at his validation numbers here, and it's about $3 million. And he made $1 million last year, and 1 year is his average pay per season on his contract. And he had a couple big games. Look at it, he averaged $11 million a year, over 8. Like he had some huge games, and he had some games where I don't think he even played or didn't play much, right? And he had he kind of hung around here, but he has, look at these spikes of great play, right? In the 12 million and so forth. And that's kind of a big deal. Yeah. That's a guy who's on the team who's making plays. Let's take a look at Kingsley Enagbare, another defensive lineman. Now that they're in a 4-3, same type of thing. Makes under $1 million. His average value to the team is $2.5 million. Same type of stuff. Most of the time, now he doesn't see the plays that Rashawn Gary and those guys see, but when he did, he had some spikes when he got to play more because Gary wasn't playing as much, or Preston Smith, or whoever, right? And when you go to TJ Slayton, when I find him, since we're going to compare defensive linemen here, where is TJ Slayton? He's up here. He's getting, because he's in his last year of his contract, so he's making a little bit more money here. And this is something really interesting. So if you look all the way to the edge, I don't know if you can see my cursor, but TJ Slayton here is making $3.1 million this year. Only 70 of it is guaranteed money. So $3.1 million, he could be cut and they'd save $3.1 million, which kind of scares me, especially with this Kenny Clark extension. If they think that they're going to save $3 million by cutting TJ Slayton, like what should have happened was the extension for TJ Slayton.
Yeah.
Because let's take a look at TJ Slayton's numbers,
who
didn't play nearly as much. 4.7 million average value to the team, and less than $1 million per year last year. And he's consistently above his pay is down here, only 100 million, above his cap value, which is even 3 million. So last year he consistently performed above his cap hit this year, right? This is the guy who should have got the extension, and it wouldn't be nearly as much as Kenny Clark. They probably could have got him for $6 million a year.
Mm-hmm.
And he performed at about $6 million average per year last year based on his performance, right? And we saw it with our own eyes. He's a good player. Now, he doesn't play as many snaps, and he's not a pass rusher, but his value to the team is pretty dang high. Now let's take a look at Kenny Clark.
Well, he didn't get as many pass rushing opportunities either.
Right. Well, that's the other thing. And he could have performed better.
Right. He's a big man.
Actually,
he's a big man who moves well.
I wanted to show Preston or Kenny, or let's not just show Gary. Let's just look at all these defensive linemen real quick for their validation scores.
Sean Gary,
good. $24 million per year, only an average value $10.4 million.
Ooh.
He had only one game where he was considered a value higher than, and I think that was Thanksgiving Day against Detroit.
Yeah, where he got 3 sacks in that one game.
Right. And it was because Jared Goff sucks.
Yeah.
But like otherwise, he's floating around $10 million. That's his value. And yet we pay him $24 million a year.
That's his impact, yeah.
On average. Now he's not on the cap for that much this year, because I think he's only like 16 on the cap this year. But it's his years after this are going to balloon. Yeah, he's only 11 million on the cap this year. But here's an interesting one. Preston Smith, we give him a lot of crap, right? Let's take a look at his value. If you look at this stat, I don't know why this 11.9, 12.5 average salary per year. Like he's getting paid exactly what he is. So I don't think we can give Preston Smith any more crap. And he has a couple spikes of awesomeness, but he's pretty much right around 10 million a year, 12, 11 million a year. Like he's getting paid what he deserves.
He's solid. That's what you expect.
And that's a good investment.
And the other thing they mentioned about him is the dude never misses a game.
Right.
He's always available.
And neither does Kenny Clark. But let's take a look at the validation number for Kenny Clark. Oh, no. And this is based on, I'm assuming, his grade,
all this
which
Temu stuff. Don't buy stuff on Temu, by the way. Don't buy stuff on Temu, man. I'm just saying.
I don't know. Anyway. It's just, I don't know. I don't know what this is. Look at that.
What you've been looking at.
12.7 million, which I think is ridiculously high. But it's because I think he plays so much. He plays 70% of snaps, and I think that's part of the value of, your being on the field is a value.
Yeah.
But still, the average pay, and then here's the scary part. He never once performed what his contract was last year. This was his contract last year. Never once performed there. Not one time did he hit that number. And now he's averaging 29 per year. And this is not value. Extending his contract is not a valuable, smart move. Period. Right? The numbers show it.
Based on that, like I said, if you sign him for an extension for $10 million a year, okay, that's what he should be paid. Right? Based on that. And that's not what he should be paid for the next 4 years, because you would think he will decline as he gets older and more, because he was a young guy when he came into the league, like 20 years old, right? He a lot of wear and tear on his body. He's played a lot of snaps. He has been available for most games and been reliable that way. So you don't expect a guy like that when he gets into his early 30s to still be performing at a high level.
Right. And that's the other thing is, on the second contract, you overpay because you expect the trajectory to go up.
Yeah.
Right? Kenny Clark's 28, 29. He's at the height of his performance. You know what you're getting. And the value is not 30 million, 29 and 28 million a year. It's 12 to 13 million a year at his position.
Mm-hmm. And
he's the 8th highest paid interior defensive lineman in the league as of right, based on that extension.
That's ridiculous.
And he does not perform to even a top 50. Well, all right, that's ridiculous. A top 25 interior defensive lineman. There are 25 other guys I could probably mention if I knew all the guys on the teams, but he certainly isn't a top 10.
He's top 8, and he's not the best on his team.
No, he's not. Like TJ Slayton should have gotten an extension, and now if they end up cutting him to save $3 million, that is a dumb move.
Yeah,
but they could have easily cut Kenny Clark this season and saved $12 to $13 million, because the money he was making that was guaranteed compared to his total salary there would have been like a $12 million savings. But by extending him, they saved only $1 million and then prorated a huge contract into the future that is going to cap. They can't cut him for the next 2 seasons, by the way, because they'll lose money on the cap. It won't be until 2026 or 2027, one of those 2 years, where they could save like $7 million if they cut him, but they're still going to pay him like $12 million on the cap, like Aaron Jones this year, and like they did with Zadarius Smith. It's going to be the same type of thing. This was not a smart move.
No.
And it's odd to me that they screw Aaron Jones, yet give Kenny Clark the bank. I just don't get it. And I like Kenny Clark. Like, I'm not saying he's bad, but he is above average to good player.
He's been overpaid. He's been consistently overpaid for his entire career.
And that's something that when you're a team, but because he had 8 sacks last year. Oh, Kirk Cousins ruptured his Achilles tendon, fell down in front of you, and gave you a sack. Awesome. He didn't do anything. He doesn't even move the pocket.
He got
that sack because Kirk Cousins fell down because he broke his Achilles, and he didn't move an inch.
And a couple of his other sacks, I remember I saw them, and I saw replays of them where outside pressure forced the quarterback up, and it was literally like a 2-yard sack. Yeah. Where the guy ran into him. He didn't even make any movement upfield, but the quarterback got pushed up forward in the pocket, and then Kenny Clark was able to be the closest guy there or maybe tackle him. Like, they're not it's not impact. They're not impactful plays, and you're basically what you're paying at that salary is for an impact player, and he is not an impact player.
And the weird thing is he doesn't even fit this defense now. Because the new defense is a penetration, like 49ers type defense, where you want athletic, quick defensive linemen who have pretty good size, who can hold up against the run. But more importantly, they want them to attack and penetrate and like mess up the offensive linemen so that it forces the running back or the quarterback to have to adjust in the pocket, which will then mess up the play, give your guys in the back end a chance to cover for a little bit, and then usually the play is dead.
It's not.
But if you just sit there and stall like the Kenny Clark play and wait for the guy to come to you, you're not getting pressure on the quarterback. You're not making any plays in the backfield. How many tackle for loss do you remember of Kenny Clark? Not very many. His pursuit is not good. He's slow. He does not pursue at all. I can remember I showed a play from a couple years ago where, Kenny Clark is closer to the sideline. Devontae Wyatt, in his rookie year, comes around him and blitzes past him to make the tackle on the other side of the field. And Kenny Clark is still kind of jogging it. He's not jogging. He's moving as fast as he can, but it looks like he's jogging. And that's the problem. So I don't know. It's just, these are the things that as Packer fans, we need to call it out. Mm-hmm. And I want to be more positive. And last year I was upset because I got really upset after the Rasul Douglas trade and pissed me off. And it made me I didn't even give a crap until Aaron Jones came back. And then of course he's my other favorite guy. And now they're both gone. And it's really hard when I watch them make these mistakes. And if we lose TJ Slayton, if they freaking cut TJ Slayton because of this to save $3 million, because they have to pay Kenny Clark for the next 3 years, that's going to piss me off big time. Because TJ Slayton outperformed his contract last year by a huge amount, should have got the extension this year.
Yep.
And now they can save money by cutting them. And I can guarantee it's something weird. Something fishy is going to happen. Because when you look at the contracts for this year, there's a bunch of guys after the 51 top guys that are rookies or in their second years that are going to make this team. And there's going to be guys that are in the top 51 in pay that are going to get let go. And one of the ones that could save the most money on is TJ Slayton. And just watch my words. Just watch. That'll be one of the cuts. That will be one of the cuts because he's in his last year. They'll save $3 million and they'll let a really good player go because of why? To save $3 million on the cap or something stupid like that.
No, because they give Kenny Clark all this money. Like the Packers. I mean, it's the same thing. You bring up Rasul Douglas, and he was an impact player. The Packers don't want to play. They live in this fantasy world. The front office lives in this fantasy world where they overvalue draft status for these guys. If this guy was a first round pick, we know he's got a chance to be this ultimate superstar player, so we're going to invest in him again, keep him here. We can't possibly let him go to free agency. Oh my gosh, the price would go up for us. Like if Kenny Clark went to free agency, what would have happened? What would have happened?
Nothing. It's like somebody said this about who was it? I think it was the Jared Goff. I think it's Mike. No, maybe it's not him. But it's somebody who's like, they're talking about like Jared Goff's contract extension he got in the offseason.
Yeah.
And like, a couple guys like that, like, who are you competing against yourself, Lions?
Right.
Or who are you competing against? Who else would pay Jared Goff that much money? Nobody. Like they're paying him too much money because why? Because he's on the team and you want to keep him around? It's like, you have to be smart in these decisions. You can't just pay a guy because, I don't know. It's dumb. It's just dumb.
No, and like, remember we talked about it, right? Rasul Douglas was making a third of what Jair Alexander was making, and dude, but he makes plays. I didn't want to do this yet. TJ Slayton is a guy that made plays. TJ Slayton We were calling for it last season. We were calling for it. We were like, extend him now. Sign him now. Like, I don't give a crap. This dude is a beast. He's performing well. He's a big man, like a big man that can move. Those don't come around that often. And most teams have to draft him in the first round to have a guy that's any good. You drafted this guy in the 5th round. He was an offensive lineman. You turned him into a defensive lineman. Look how much he's grown in 3 years. Sign this young man. He is a monster. And you're going to.
It's the same exact situation, except no, actually, it is basically the same exact situation because everybody kept telling you that Jair was great, even though the numbers and the performance didn't show that, right? Like the stats don't show he's great, but everybody kept telling you how great he is,
and the play on the field doesn't show you either.
And they paid him like he was so great, and then Rasul, who makes plays and did things that was awesome, they paid him like he was just a run of the mill veteran corner who's pretty good.
Yep.
Right. And now when you look at the stats of Kenny Clark, he's been an average at best or above average player, consistent though. I would say more consistent than Jair, but basically about the same. Like Jair's not a pick. He doesn't get picks. He doesn't get pass breakups very often. Right. He sure as hell doesn't tackle. He doesn't do anything in the run game. He's definitely not anywhere near his value. And Kenny Clark is
basically the same impact, Ben.
They are. Yes. They're the two highest paid guys on the defense.
Except Kenny Clark is actually available and Jair gets injured a lot.
Right.
So that's the difference. But as far as their impact on the game, it's roughly the same.
But I guarantee if they do give TJ Slayton a contract extension, it'll be 1/3 the pay of Kenny Clark.
Yeah. 5th round pick.
And it'll be validated by nothing. Right? Here, you brought up Jair. Show me.
Dude, TJ Slayton is so good. If they cut him, I'm going to be pissed.
I'm just telling you, the numbers are there. It could happen. He's saved $3 million on the cap if they cut him, and he's one of the only guys like that. Because usually there's more guys on the team that they could save money on, but they've already done it with Aaron Jones and Dave Bakhtiari and all these guys, where they save some money, even though they still have $49 million in dead cap on this year, mostly from Savage $5 million. 18 from Bakhtiari, Aaron Jones, $12 million. I think it's another 3 or 4 from stupid, what's his face, Devondre Campbell. So there's some.
We got a quick aside for Savage. Anybody watch the receiver Netflix receiver thing? Anybody watch that? Ben, tell him George Kittle in the the game against. It's painful. It's painful to go back and watch. Yeah, the playoff game against the Packers. And watch how many times George Kittle just torched Savage. And the one play, the quote he had was awesome. Do you remember what it was?
I don't remember what the exact quote. I don't remember what it was exactly, but it was something like, I was expecting him to like redirect me off my route, and he just didn't even touch me. And that was a touchdown pass where he just blew right past him. And, and Savage didn't even look for the ball. And you're telling me a white tight end was faster than Savage, who's supposed to be the fastest defensive back on the Packers that last season?
Yeah, he was playing man on a tight end, and then somehow he was trailing him by
and he never looked up for the ball or nothing. Even though it's not like Davante Adams, where he never looks for the ball until the very last second, then puts his hands up. Like that's one of Davante Adams' greatest feats. That's why he's so good a lot of times. Like you can watch Kittle's looking for the ball like almost the whole time. He's watching the ball come in, and Savage doesn't even turn around and look for the ball once. And then Kittle's like, man, this guy he didn't even try.
That was another interesting one. Another 1st round pick that they hung on to too long. At least they didn't sign him back for a second contract. Okay. The great Jair Alexander, all we've heard all off season, rebuilding his reputation. He's the greatest thing in the world. What was his play last year?
Well, first of all, let's take a look at his page. Let's take a look at his page here.
Oh my God.
His page, contract ranking, number 1 out of 345 at the cornerback position. He is the highest paid corner in the NFL.
Wow.
Yet, and this has been a couple years after his contract was done, right? This is his 3rd year under the new contract, and he's still the highest paid corner.
His 2nd year under the new contract.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, because they signed him to it when he was injured, or right after he was injured.
No, they signed him the same year they signed Rasul. So this will be the 3rd season under the new contract.
No, they only gave. They didn't even give Rasul enough. Anyway, go ahead. I don't remember.
Because this would have been Rasul's, because Rasul signed a 3-year deal, and this would have been Rasul's third year if he was still with the team.
If they give him another big extension, I'm gonna lose it. I'm gonna lose it, bro.
Well, he's only 27 years old.
Oh my god.
But here's the thing. Let's take a look right here. Average validation, 580,000. And then they say his injury adjusted is 4.6. So had he played the whole year, it would have been a 4.6. But you got to put availability as part of your validation for your contract. In my
100%, 100%. If you're not available, you are useless.
This is the graph for Jair Alexander. Everybody,
wow.
He played in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games last year.
Jesus.
He never once eclipsed the cash he's due this year, which is $16 million. Last year, they paid him $21 million, or that's his average per year is $21 million. He doesn't even come close to that. But that's the great Jair. And people wonder why we say things we do. This isn't some made-up crap I just made up. This is straight-up facts. Now, let's go take a look at something amazing. Shall we? If you go all the way to the bottom here, you see non-active roster cap charges. David Bakhtiari, $18.1 million on the cap this year, not on the team. Aaron Jones, $12.3. Darnell Savage, $5.4. Rasul Douglas, $5.1 million. Do you think that trade was good now that you find out we're paying Rasul Douglas $5.1 million on our cap this year to not even be on the team? But we moved from a 5th-round pick to a 3rd or whatever the hell we did. That was so great that what's his face said.
And unlike Eric Stokes and Jair Alexander, he was always available as well.
Well, let's take a look at something amazing.
Always
Let's take a look at Rasul. He's the 27th highest paid corner, which is pretty high. But let's take a look at his validation score, shall we? $14 million validation score on a 7-year per season contract. Let's take a look at his graph. Never once was he below $5 million because he's always plays and he always gets tackles and he always is awesome.
He's always good.
But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times he performed at $15 million validation pay or more. And his average, even without these, would still be making his money. And that's the difference between a great player who is undervalued and a chump like Jair who's overvalued. And now I want to show 2 more guys who I think it's going to be sad if something dumb happens with either of these 2 guys. And let's take a look at this.
Who do you got?
This is crazy to me. Rasheed Walker.
Okay. 24. God,
Rasheed Walker played left tackle for us last year. Look at that.
Oh,
he got paid under $1 million, but look at his validation number because he played. Average of $5 million a year or so. He had a couple of really awesome games where he must have not allowed any sacks and really got some good blocks in and all that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a valuable contract. That's something we're getting value from, right?
Right.
That's amazing. And then one more guy I just wanted to show. These are guys that we talk about because we know, and anybody who watched the show, we know. Okay, I'll show McDuffie too. Now it's important to show. I want to show McDuffie's validation. So he has a $3.2 million validation. But what I want to show that's really important here is he either started or didn't play.
Wow.
So a lot of these are like 0, 0, 0, or he barely gets on the field for a lot of these because he wasn't starting. But look at the games he started in. All these games he started in. He had like 1 or 2 of these at the end of the year were kind of stinky, right? I don't think he started these at the end because Devondre Campbell was back at the end, remember?
Right. Yeah.
But look at the games he started in. Over 15 million valuable. Over 13 million valuable. But his average is probably right about 7 to 6. When he starts, his average is about $7 to $6 million valuable. But look at how much more valuable he was than what his pay was.
He's just a football player, man.
And yet we wasted 2 of our top 5 draft picks on inside linebacker when we have a guy who's very good, who we could probably pay for a contract, kind of like a Patrick, right? Lucas Patrick, where he's a very good player. He's going to be cheap. We can extend him for a good amount, right? And he's still really good. And it won't be like break the bank type stuff. Okay, where's my other guy I wanted to show?
And he helps on special teams too. Helps on special teams too.
And everybody talks about Luke Musgrave.
Don't give me the Tucker Kraft. He's the man, yo.
He is so good. He is so good.
Jack
a
Rabbit.
$5 million validation. Now check this out. He didn't even play until week 9. And funny how Jordan Love all of a sudden was really good after week 9, right? Look at the average of Tucker Kraft once he started. You're talking $8 million a year worth of value for a guy in the last half of the year when he finally got to play. Tucker Kraft is awesome. Yeah. He is awesome. And these are things that we saw, we talked about, we said he's a much better all-around tight end than Luke Musgrave is. And Musgrave had a pretty good value too. Romeo Doubs has good value, by the way, too. But I'm going to ask you a question. Who do you think has the highest value on the team per pay? Who do you think it is?
That's a tough one. Out of all these dudes, Jesus.
I'll give you a hint. It's an offensive player.
Offensive player.
I'm going to give you 2 seconds.
God dang it. Bo Melton. Bo Melton.
No, Bo Melton had like one good
game. Crap.
Here it is right here. Here he is.
Zach Tom. That makes
the guy sense. We've called our he was our, what was he? Look at this. This is ridiculous. 13.587 million validation score on a $1 million contract.
Pay that dude.
I mean, look at this. Look at this graph.
Oh my God. Zach Thompson.
He is so effing good, dude. He's so good.
He's a man.
And we're paying him nothing. And he is continuously, he's got to be like one of the best guards or tackles. Well, he can play anywhere. He can play center, guard, whatever. He can play anywhere. He's freaking awesome. Yeah. He never once was below 4 million. He's always playing. He got hurt at one time. Look at this.
As a rookie, his rookie season, he saved the Packers' ass time and time again. Every game. Yeah.
So it's a really cool, like you can, like I said, over the cap. Mm-hmm. I don't know exactly how they figure out this validation thing. Like, I don't know where it comes from or whatever. Like, but I think it's got something to do with, playing time.
Clearly, yeah.
Stats, right? And then also,
production.
Like production, and like it must be like a PFF grade or a grade of some sort that someone's pulling in. Because offensive linemen, it's going to be hard to really figure that out unless you're looking at the PFF grades, I would think, because there's no stats to back it up, right?
Yeah.
But these are all the guys we talk about are all the guys that are outperforming their, you know what I mean? Their contracts. And it's not like we're not idiots. So if you want to watch a show with guys who know what the fuck's going on, you watch this show and you learn the truth. And I don't know. The Kenny Clark signing is freaking dumb. Or the extension is dumb. And that's all I'm saying. There's guys out there who we should be hanging on to and be worried about. Zach Toms. Rasheed Walker's pretty good. TJ Slayton. Isaiah McDuffie. These are good, solid players. Jace, you're muted. And we really need them to play. You're muted out. Okay.
They're good football players.
Those are the guys that we should be extending, not Kenny Clark.
Can we keep some good football players on the team? Like, I get how we want to keep all the talent and the athleticism and the superstar potential, but production is the name of the game in the NFL. What do you actually do? What have you done? What can you do? And we pay a lot of money for potential, and then we pay a lot of money because we don't want to admit that our first round picks maybe shouldn't have been first round picks.
Yeah.
You brought up the example before, Trey Lance. The 49ers sold the farm to get him. And then they were like, nope, Brock Purdy's better. Out. See you later, buddy. Like, the Packers need to have some balls and do that stuff and admit it's okay to be wrong. It's okay that you made a mistake in the draft as long as you recognize the good players in your team and you keep them around. TJ Slayton is a dude you need to have. That's not a guy that grows on trees. You got to get him. You got to get these other dudes in line. Tucker, Goody has made some, and the scouts and whoever's involved in the drafting process has made some really good selections. Okay.
Yeah. And a matter of fact, I mean, all the receivers, of course, are all outperforming their contract. Like, Jaden
Right.
Reed and
100%.
the actually one guy isn't. That's Christian Watson because of injuries
Right.
and other things.
Right.
But like Romeo Dobbs, Jaden Reed, Dontavian Wicks, all those guys were kind of like Tucker Kraft, where they're, much higher than what they're getting paid because they were rookies last year or second year players. And that's totally understandable. But the bottom line is when you see guys making performances and making plays continuously, those are the guys you want to see get paid. And I think the biggest eye-opening one to me was TJ Slayton and Isaiah McDuffie too.
Monster.
Both those guys are very good players. And we've said it over and over again when we watch the tape. We're like, man, look at these guys play. And the fact that they extend Kenny Clark with an ungodly amount of money, and then
that's rough.
If for some reason they lose TJ Slayton out of this, it'll drive me nuts.
Yeah. Yeah. There's only so many snaps to go around, but you had a clear path. We talked about it, right? Leading up to this, you had mentioned it a few times. This is Kenny Clark's last year of his current deal. You could save a bunch of money by cutting him.
Yep.
You had up and comers like, okay, you invested a first round pick in Wyatt. You got Carl Brooks, who is showing up and showing out last year. You got Slayton. You have guys.
You're moving to a 4-3, which means you only need 2 interior defensive linemen. So the value of Kenny Clark even goes down.
It doesn't make sense.
It's dumb. It was dumb.
And if it straps you in other areas, right, where you can't sign certain guys or you can't, do this or that or keep guys on the team that you really want to, like it could have ramifications. The domino effect of this one move because of what you're doing with your money could hurt the Packers in years to come, in the next couple of years. And I think like a lot of people are on the Packers as like a sleeper pick for Super Bowl this year. I don't think it's going to happen this year. My prediction was it was going to happen next year, right? 3rd year of Jordan Love as a starter. But right now, I don't know, because who knows what the hell the rest of the team's going to look like, because you got all this money in Jair, you got all this money in Kenny Clark, you got all this money in guys that aren't performing, right? Yeah. They're not impact guys. And you gave Rashawn Gary a bunch of money. He's a great guy, but what's his impact too? Not that much of an impact. So I'm concerned about where all the money's going, especially because you have the cap. We'll see how it all works out. Congratulations to Jordan Love for getting the big money, and hopefully he continues to ascend, and maybe with this group of young wideouts can help carry the team. But there's been a lot of talk, Ben. Let's get into this. There's been a lot of talk in camp. Oh, this D-line is showing up. This D-line is making the offense look terrible. Well, if you remember a couple of years ago, we were at camp and the D-line was in on every single play. They were just blowing up every play. Aaron Rodgers was throwing the ball on the ground all the time because they're getting past everybody all the time. But did that change anything in the season? Were they a top 5 defense? Were they impactful? Were they getting tons of sacks? No,
because their offensive line was bad.
Yes.
And that might be the same thing now.
So temper your excitement about the D-line, Packer fans.
Well, no,
because we've seen this before. I mean, I heard Larry McCarron did a report.
Okay,
he said, and there are 3 guys and 3 things, right? He was like, everyone talks about the Packers and all their first round picks on defense. And he said, this is the year where the potential isn't talked about anymore. And the performance is there and the defense becomes dominant and like blows it all up, basically paraphrasing, but that's what he said. And if that happens, what does that say to you? What does that say to anybody in the chat? What does that say?
I don't know.
I mean, you have to give credit to Hafley, right? If all of a sudden it's basically all the same players, it's basically all the same players. So you'd have to say it's the coaching, it's the defensive approach. That's the difference, right? If these guys were monsters and just held back, waiting to be unleashed, what the hell were we doing in the last couple of years? If that's what happens this year, I don't know. But I'm withholding my excitement on this defensive line being some like juggernaut because I've heard it all before and I've seen it all before. And then we get to the season and it's kind of like, ho hum, so. That's how they play. Thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see what they do. I think there's more speed. I think having Devondre Campbell off the team is a huge plus because he sucked.
100%.
Losing Rasul, big, bad mistake. Losing Savage, huge upgrade. Right. Though I have to be honest, I looked at Xavier McKinney's stats on this. Rasul kind of outperformed him. Just saying. I'm not like everybody said how McKinney's so great.
And he was way cheaper.
They should have moved Rasul to safety, like we said, and he would have been amazing.
Yeah.
Because his vision, his ability to read plays, his visually to his hands, his tackling ability, like he should be a safety. He should be a free safety or a strong safety or something. But I think he'd probably get the big page days like Xavier McKinney got because of his outstanding, awareness and stuff, but whatever. Mm-hmm. He wants to play corner because that's, I think he sees it as like a downgrade from corner to safety, but I disagree because I think safeties are actually more important because in some ways, especially maybe not in the Joe Barry system, maybe that's why I didn't want to go because he didn't want to stand there and do nothing all the time. But I think the safeties in this system, in the 49ers system, you see a lot of guys making plays, right? And the corners are actually the ones that they save money on. If you look at the 49ers, right? Like those are the guys that they end up returning all these corners, but they pay their safeties and their inside linebackers because they know that's where the importance is for that team and the D line.
The Joe Barry safety, start 15 yards back and backpedal to 25 at the start of the snap.
Yeah. But I mean, when it comes to the D line, I'm excited for the fact that we have athletic guys who can penetrate and make plays. I was actually kind of hoping that they were going to cut Kenny Clark. So
me too. He doesn't.
Here's the thing. He doesn't fit the defense. Carl Brooks, Devontae Wyatt, those guys, Colby Wooden, those guys fit the defense. And the fact that you want a guy who's going to penetrate, get off blocks, get into the backfield, and cause havoc. Kenny Clark's not that kind of guy. He can get off blocks every now and again, but he doesn't penetrate. He doesn't really cause havoc.
Right.
And a lot of times he gets off the block and then he just kind of stands there and there's a bunch of plays last year where he was just out of position because he started going one way and the offensive line was like, okay, go ahead. Cause the run going the other way. So go ahead. See ya. Go that way. Cause we know you're never going to get around and make a play. And he didn't.
He's also very easy to run away from because he's so slow. So like you said, he doesn't have any pursuit and it's a weird fit. It's a weird decision. I get being loyal to the player and I get it. But at the same time, why would you pay so much? It's a very perplexing decision. Bruce is talking about the switch to the 4-3. I don't care what the defense is because the Packers played a lot of 4-man fronts last year anyway.
Yeah.
But I just want to see a defense that attacks. And if they attack, great. You're going to get beat sometimes. Live with it. But attack and make some plays and change the game. And don't die by a slow death. I hate the slow death.
Well, the one thing I would say, I agree with Bruce, is we have guys who were 270 pounds dropping back in coverage and doing nothing. Right. We had the Kenny Clark drop back in coverage on that one play I showed last year in a playoff game. It makes no sense.
P. Smith.
And in the 4-3, in the 4-3 defense, those defensive linemen are not dropping back in coverage more often than not. They're all attacking. They're all going forward. And then we need that speed on the second level in the linebacker position or nickel back who are going to make up for whatever they screw up.
Right.
Where in the past, like the whole point of a 3-4 was the fact that you would do crazy stuff and the offense wouldn't know where the pressure was coming from. In a 4-3, we know the pressure's coming from the four guys in front. Maybe they'll blitz a guy every now and again just to kind of screw something up. But it's more designed around using these big guys up front to move forward, use their size and their agility to get past a bigger, slower offensive lineman, to cause havoc in the backfield and screw up the play. And then the linebackers have to be fast enough to get to wherever the running back or the wide receiver or the ball goes to make the tackle, break up the pass, do whatever it is. And we have that speed in the linebackers we've drafted in the last 2 years. Yep. And we have the smarts with Isaiah McDuffie and Eric Wilson. I mean, the linebacker core I'm actually pretty excited about. That's one of the things I am excited about this year, especially in this system.
I like it.
So I'm actually more excited about the linebackers than I am about the defensive line. Because the defensive line, I think, is going to just be more of their better selves from the last couple of years. So if they're allowed to penetrate and attack, like they a couple times they were last year, they made plays. When they have to be passive and hold up blocks and then try to read what's going on in front of them and then try to do something, they're dumb. They can't do that. Just have them attack and smack. Attack and smack.
The only one that's good at that is Kenny Clark. And now you're asking him to do something totally different. So it doesn't make sense.
Well, we'll see. I mean, maybe Kenny's good at he just doesn't have the pursuit. He doesn't have pursuit speed. He has strength. He's very good against a contact, right? He can usually beat a guy across his face first. He's quick within a tiny little area.
Yep.
But his biggest issue is once he gets past the initial blocker, he's useless unless the running back is right in his face or the quarterback falls down in front of him because he broke his Achilles. That's the only thing he's good at. So when you see Rashawn Gary and Preston Smith and Kingsley Enagbare and freaking Van Ness and
Ness has got to be a man.
We have so many guys. It even makes the freaking Kenny Clark contract even stupider. There's Carl Brooks, Colby Wood, and TJ Slayton. Like, we have a million defensive linemen to play 4 spots on the team, and they're all good. They're like our best units. And Kenny Clark isn't even like a top 4 out of those guys. I would rather see TJ Slayton and Carl Brooks out there before Kenny Clark. I'd rather see Devontae Wyatt out there before Kenny Clark. I'd rather see Van Ness, Preston, freaking Gary, freaking Enagbare. I would take every one of those guys I named before Kenny Clark, yet we pay Kenny Clark $26 million, $28 million a year.
29 million. 29 this year.
Whatever. It doesn't make sense. The whole thing is stupid. That contract extension was so dumb.
It's just
like, remember how we were so excited last year, right? We finally got rid of Big Dog. Because everybody's like, we got to keep Big Dog. We got to keep him because what are we going to do? They need to learn. They need a leader. It's like, what's the damn coach for, you morons? And look what happened. Tucker Kraft finally got to play, and he was awesome. By paying Kenny Clark, we're holding back Carl Brooks. We're holding back Colby Wooden. We're holding back TJ Slayton. We're holding back Devontae Wyatt. We're holding back guys who we need to see play. Devontae Wyatt needs to show us he's good or we're screwed because he's in his 4th year.
Yeah.
Right? Or 3rd year, whatever it is.
3rd year, but he was a 1st round pick.
3rd year, right. We have to decide we have to make the decision on the 5th round. Like, how are we going to know if we're paying Kenny Clark? Guess what? He ain't going to be back. I think that's what this says. The Kenny Clark, because here's the deal. You can pay TJ Slayton a heck of a lot less money on an extension than Devontae Wyatt's 5th year option. Right? So they will, no matter what Devontae Wyatt does this year, unless he somehow has like 27 sacks and destroys the whole league, they will not take up his 5th year option because he was the older player, right? He's almost the same age as Kenny Clark already because he was 24 when they drafted him, right? So he's 27 now. And I'm just saying, I can't get over how dumb it was. They should have just cut Kenny Clark.
I know.
Like, you have no remorse. You kept David Bakhtiari on for years and years and years and years for no reason. Aaron Jones, gone just like that, even though he's a fan favorite way more than Kenny Clark. Not even hesitate. Oh, Josh Jacobs signed, who's not even that great. Whatever. Bomb. Bye, Aaron Jones. But Kenny Clark, we're going to give him the big contract extension? It doesn't make sense.
I was blown away. I was like, what is happening? Why? Please, somebody explain it to me. I don't get it. I don't get it. And I think they could try to explain it, and I still wouldn't get it. So, again, on this show, we are not... I know a lot of shows are Packer mouth, they feed you the Packer juju. They're like, here, what the Packers want you to hear. Jair's the greatest thing in the world. All our 1st round picks are great. We always know what we're doing. We have a great team. We're going to win the Super Bowl every year. No, we don't do that. We tell you the truth. We tell you what we see. This was a bad decision that could hurt the Packers in the long run, could actually prevent them from winning the Super Bowl or getting to where they want to go in the next couple of years because they made this financial choice. But we'll see. We'll see. All right. Bruce says all great points. Ega says, if you really want Clark gone, Jace should get his jersey. That's true.
Or me. I bought Rasul Douglas jersey and he was gone in a year and a half.
Damn, you're right. All right.
Though David McKinney's wearing 29 now. So
let's get to the most important part of the show, which everyone's been waiting for. And that is the new. We covered all the Packer news. In a future show, I'm going to do an examination of recent Packer cornerbacks in the last couple of decades. We're going to compare statistics, production over the similar time period, and then we're going to let you decide who should be these highest paid guys and the guys that should stay on the team, and what do these numbers say to you and the production say to you. But that's coming up for a future show. The big part about tonight, other than the Jordan Love contract signing, which we broke the news to you, everybody. I know all these other... Yeah, everybody else claimed it, but we actually were the ones that were on top of it. Jordan called us, let us know he signed the contract. Is Ben professed he would not do a poo show again, so I had to put my brain to work and come up with different show ideas. Let's take a look at some of these different show ideas, potentially for show titles that we could change our show title to.
Okay.
So, Ben, we're going to cycle through some of these. I want to hear some comments, see what you guys think. We start off with some more generic ones and basic, and then we build into a theme. It's because I always have a theme that I follow. It's what I default to, so I apologize for that. Okay. Hafman Bros, new show title ideas. Packer game reviews for the Packer game reviews. Is that too straightforward? Does that do anything for you? Does it give you the feels?
That does nothing for me at all.
All right. Very boring. All right. Let's go to the next one. Packer objective conclusions. Any thoughts on that?
I don't know.
You also have to look at the potential abbreviation or acronym. Remember, we started out originally as Hafman Brothers Talking Packers, even though Mo had it wrong and thought it was Hafman Brothers Talk About the Packers. No, that wasn't it. It was Hafman Brothers Talking Packers, which a couple of friends appreciated that there was TP in the last two things.
That's true.
Last two letters, right? So we had this TP theme. Then we went to Packer. Ben tried to come up with Packer opinions, and I was like, no. We got to add another O in there. And it was Packer outright opinions, which gave us the Pooh Show, which was probably the greatest show title in the history of all Packer shows.
Well, then we just keep that.
Well, just hold on. So
I know I got all mad.
You professed you were never going to do a Packer outright opinion show.
Well, this show is called the Pooh Show, and we're doing it, so I guess I'm still doing it.
I came up with some other ideas. Okay, Packer objective conclusions.
So far, I'm not impressed. Not impressed.
Not one of the finalists. All right, let's move on. All right, Packer insightful strong statements.
Oh,
also known as piss.
I don't know. That's apparently in England. That's a naughty word. They don't like it when you say pissed in England, which is weird because they say stuff that I think sounds worse. But it's where you live and where you grow up. But I think we have more than statements, but we do have strong statements. But they're not always insightful, so I don't think it works. Sometimes it's just off the cuff and we just go.
That's fine. I fully expected you to shoot down every one of my ideas, but I'm going to give you all of them anyway. True. That's okay. So
make sure if anybody I was just saying,
go ahead.
If anybody likes any of these, then put the abbreviation in the comments after like the video's done, so we can see them later or now or whatever.
Yes.
If there's one that you think is good, then we'll take the votes and whatever, and probably just keep Pooh Show, but whatever.
Whatever touches your soul, please let us know. I started to go down this path. I started out with generic ones, and I started to go down this path, and then I continued on. So let's see where it goes next. So piss, Packer, insightful, strong statements, gave me an idea, and then I continued on. So, game observations, Packers podcast, or also known as Go PP.
That's dumb.
Okay. All right. Dad says you've kept it clean. Mark chimes in here. Your defense has frustrated me over the years. Yes, of course it has. But we're talking about our new show name, Mark. So get on board with this. This is the dumb part of the show, but I want you to get on board with this, Mark. Give us your feedback on our new show name. Okay, so Ben doesn't like to go pee pee. He prefers
here.
He prefers piss. So
No,
far. Oh, Lee's here.
What?
Lee,
holy crap! What this is showing me, Jason, is how much better the Pooh Show was than all these other names you've come up with so far. Okay. So far, all these names are crap. Pooh Show is by far the best.
I don't think you liked Packer Outright Opinions when I first said it. You like Packer Opinions. And I said, no. You can't give me a PO with not an extra O.
Yeah, but when you add the fart gun and all that, it makes more sense. And we haven't done a fart gun in a while. And,
Packer exciting new insightful. Bruce, what is that? That gives me no, that gives me
penis.
No like PP. Oh, okay. All right. I'll consider it. All right. I didn't think of that one. So let's go. What else I thought of? Insightful Packers podcast. IPP. No? Okay, we'll go to the next one. All right. Another option that my brain, and these were not, I didn't type this into computers, like give me PP related idea titles. This was all from my brain. This brain in this head. In-depth game observations, Packers podcast, or I go PP. No, that's not a contender. Okay.
You know what that reminds me of? Bruce Almighty. I like what does he say when Steve Carell is reading the prompter and all that? And one of them is, I do the cha-cha or whatever. He's like, I go a pee-pee or whatever. I can't remember what it was in the movie Bruce Almighty, when he has to read the prompter and he's just saying whatever's written on the prompter.
Yep.
Oh, that was a great freaking scene. Okay. No, this is terrible. So, move on.
Okay. It's terrible. Okay. Another, you might prefer this one. Wisconsin Underdog Sports Show, which we're always about the underdogs.
That's true.
Also known as WUS.
No, that's not good.
Well,
no.
Come on, we are the champions of the underdog. No WUS. Okay, all right.
Don't change it to Packer Underdog Sports Show.
My
that would be bad.
I didn't go there. My brain continued on this. We just expanded it a little bit. And oops, let me go. Back to this one. Wisconsin Unabridged Strong Sports Yakking.
No.
Or Wussy.
No.
No.
Oh God. Stop.
That was not working. I did not take it there.
Thank God you didn't switch it
I did not take it there. There's no Packer. I was trying to think of incorporating the Bucks, incorporating the new WNBA team in Wisconsin, whenever that comes about.
That's never gonna happen. What are you talking about?
And then this one was a little longer, so I had to readjust things a little bit. Wisconsin Unabashed Sports Statements, Insights, and Educational Reports, or Wussier.
No.
Not acceptable. Okay.
These names are getting worse and worse and worse as you go.
All right. We should probably go back to piss. This one. Packer Insightful
Sports.
Okay. Last one. The one I thought about, made the most sense, is simply titled Bold Statements.
That's not
with
bad.
Hafman Bros. Or BS with Hafman Bros.
That one's better. That one's better.
That's why I saved it till the end. Bruce wants to bring in penis. Packer exciting new insightful statements.
No, you can't do that.
Lee thinks Packer uncovered knowledge entertainment.
Puke.
I'm not good at understanding what. Oh, puke. Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Lee. No, we're not puke.
Ben. I feel like BS with Hafman Bros could catch on. Maybe that's our claim to fame. Maybe that's what really hits it and goes viral on the internet. I don't know. But these were the thoughts and brain generation in my fourth day of COVID, as I was isolating and just bored and trying to come up with ideas. Dad says best one yet. Which one do you mean, Dad? BS is best one yet?
Yeah, that's the one he thinks is the best.
Okay.
It is.
Okay.
It is. The other ones are all terrible. The other ones are all terrible.
Even piss? Piss was pretty good.
That was not good. It wasn't good.
Okay. Ega says BS gets my vote. Okay, well, so can you write a song for bold statements with Haven Bros, or do we
No,
still have
I'm
to go
not
back
writing
to
any
the
more new
Pooh
songs.
show and
Just Boo
you
Show.
retract your statement? Okay. Everybody's on board with BS. So apparently, all those other thoughts, all the other time I put into that was completely useless. So that's fine. I should have just went with BS with Haven Bros. Sounds good. That's all I have for you on that.
Well,
I think
we
it's
could make a
catchy
segment
title.
of our show be like BS, bold statements.
Sure,
Like that could be a
sure.
segment, and you could use
Yeah.
that.
Okay,
I think it should
I
still be
like that.
Haven Bros. Pooh Show is fine. I don't know, whatever.
You're just lazy.
I don't have to
You don't
record a
want to
new
make
song.
this. Okay, that's fair. Lee likes. I like the classic Pooh show. Well, thank you, Lee. Appreciate that. Lee, how do you feel about, since you're on board here a little late? How do you feel about the Kenny Clark contract extension? Are you as upset as we are? It doesn't seem to compute, make business sense, or anything else. We appreciate he's a good guy, but you could have gave him a lot of less money if you wanted to keep him around. Anyway, that's what we think. Ega says, or you could have one thing each week that you think is BS. Well, yeah. I mean, we can find plenty of BS to talk about. There's no problem with that.
Yeah. And then I don't think Eckes and Bruce haven't heard about them about Jordan Love's contract. What do they think? Lee?
Jordan Love? Everybody excited?
We talked about it at the
Love's
beginning of the
contract?
year, but what do these other guys think? If they are happy with it or excited moving forward, and you think he earned it or all that kind of stuff, or what?
Or you just think based on the way everything's going, you got to pay it?
Yeah, I mean that's kind of what I came down with. Is it's based on how insane everybody's getting money. It's kind of the way it is, you know.
Yeah. I mean, the only thing, like I said, is I wish it would have been longer. That would have been a longer thing, but that's okay.
Yeah. I don't know.
Just because then you'd have cheaper years later and all that sort of stuff, and that makes sense to me. But all right, let's move on. Let's see. Judah Time is still hanging. Judah Time, you've been hanging around this whole show. Good on you. Thank you, Judah Time. You're the man. Maybe Jeff Halfley wanted Kenny Clark to stay, he's saying. Lee says overpaid again. I like Kenny, but not that much. That's
100% agree with you, Lee.
He's been overpaid his whole career, which is why he should have gave a discount in the twilight of his career. But he was happy to sign that contract for the big ass money. I'm cool. It was more than I hoped with the market, but he has been a good guy and has potential.
That's Jordan Love, I'm assuming. Jordan
Love. Oh, Jordan Love. Yes.
Kenny Clark has no potential, so that statement is not definitely about Kenny Clark.
Longer would have been better. Who knows what these guys are telling him to do? Yeah. I mean, the agents get in play, and it's all weird. And lots of factors there. They're clearly trying to get the most money they can for their clients. The players want to get paid. They want guaranteed money. Jordan Love again. We'll bring it back. Breaking news on Hafen Bros. Nobody else told it to you first. Jordan Love signs a big ass contract, 4 years, $220 million, $75 million signing bonus, an NFL record, and $155 million in new guarantees. So there you go. Enough said. Jordan Love is your quarterback for the next several years. And birthday buddy Sean Clifford might be able to hang around as a backup, even with Pratt being a super stud in his ways. But Sean Clifford's a gamer, right? That's what they say about him, Ben. He says he's a gamer.
Yeah. I like Sean Clifford.
I like him too. All right. So lastly, before we go. Wait, what do we got? Judah Time says Jordan has the higher upside than the other QB deal, and the $75 million gets paid to help the salary cap. And I would have waited to trade Kenny Clark at the trade deadline. Ooh,
yeah,
for like a 6th round pick, probably would have got. Anyway, it's fine. 6th round pick would have been fine. We'd take anything for Kenny Clark, and to unload his contract, we'd take it. Agreed, but they didn't do that. Kenny Clark's on the team. Hopefully they keep TJ Slayton around. Hopefully they do not lose TJ Slayton because of this decision. But more importantly, there is a new 62 on the team, and he is my new favorite Packer, and it's Jacob Monk, everybody. Jacob freaking Monk. The dude's awesome, all right? I love the guy. Look at him. He wears that 62 well. He's a young man. He was his uncle on his father's side was named James Chubby Sharpless. And Jacob Monk is also from Duke. Okay, what are the Packers trying to do to me here? They must have known I was pissed off that they got rid of Lucas Patrick, so they got another Duke guy who's awesome and gave him the same exact number. And now Jacob Monk might be my new favorite Packer. I think he is. I think he's going to make the team, and I think he's going to be really valuable. I don't think he's going to be a starter. He probably should start before Josh Myers does, but I think he's going to be a key interior lineman backup dude who will help them a lot this year and for the next several years to come. And he'll be cheap because he was drafted in the mid rounds. What do you think about Jacob Monk?
I don't have no opinion. I don't know.
I know you like that other dude from Duke, right? And we're hoping they draft him early. But this is kind of like it's weird. 2 Duke linemen going in the NFL, the same NFL draft in the same year. That's kind of weird.
Well, they're good players. They're good players, man. What are you going to do?
I know, but Duke is not normally a football school, so it's kind of wild.
No, but what I know is this. They just redid Royce Newman's contract.
What?
Yeah, they redid it so like as of this point, he is scheduled to make $2.374 million.
I thought his rookie contract was over. He's not done yet? Royce Newman?
No, he was in last year's rookie contract.
OMG.
But they redid it. So now if they cut him, if they cut Royce, they'll save $2.25 million. So there's that. So he might get cut. That's all I'm just saying. And then Josh Myers also, they restructured his contract. And he is supposed to make $3.47 million this year. And if they cut him, they'll save $3.1 million. So there's possibility for both of those guys to be gone. So because I was trying to look and see where this money, like if they wanted to cut guys to save money, and like TJ Slayton's another one, but that'd be stupid. But it's all these guys who are in their last year of their rookie deals, right? So it's Josh Myers, TJ Slayton, Royce Newman, guys like that, where they'll actually could save some dough, a couple million here and there. But otherwise, there's not much to be saved other than like $1 million here or there on guys that are kind of like just hit or misses. Like their base salary is their actual, like there's nothing guaranteed. So like Greg Joseph, they'll save $1 million. Andre Dillard, they'll save $1 million. I think none of those 2 guys aren't making the team because they played like crap. Tyler Davis would save $1 million. Robert Rochelle would save $1 million. Zane Anderson would save $1 million. I mean, I don't know. Little things like that. Luke Tenuta, Caleb Jones. It's not much there. So, but these are guys who they'll save money by getting rid of. And like I said earlier in the show, there's a lot of guys that they drafted who are younger, who are not in the top 51 in contract salary cap hits this year that will make this team. So guys like Jacob Eason, Caleb Jones, Luke Tenuta, who are younger guys who are, undrafted guys, to Andre Dillard, Greg Joseph. Those are guys, veterans who are signed for minimums. And then the 3 guys I mentioned earlier, Royce Newman, Josh Myers, TJ Slayton. Those are all guys who have contracts where you could save $1 million or more by letting them go. They're in the last year of their deal. If they're not part of the Packers' future, and some of these rookie guys who have been drafted, like Jacob Monk and other guys, those are the type of names you might see gone when cut down day comes. Because if they're not part of the future, what's the point of keeping them? You can save $3 million by getting rid of Josh Myers or Royce Newman and do it, right? Well, you save $2 million for Royce Newman, but
right.
So those are just things I was looking at when I was looking at the cap today. After I, because I wanted to know what the hell I was talking about. That's good with all this stuff. So I just thought that was interesting.
It's good
this may be the last year for some of these guys, and it's kind of sad, but
I'm sorry. I was going to say it's good that you wanted to know what you're talking about, because our new show title is now BS with Haven Bros, which would basically say you don't need to know what you're talking about because it's just BS. But anyway, lastly before we go, sorry I said lastly before we go, congratulations to the one and only Quinn Miners. Got a big ass contract extension of his own. 4 years, $80 million from the Broncos. Well deserved. Congratulations, kid from Hartford, Wisconsin, and went to UW Whitewater. 3rd round selection, and the Broncos gave him a ton of money because he's awesome. So congratulations to him.
Should have been a Packer. We should have had him instead of Josh Myers.
Would have been great.
And he would have been awesome and would have fit in perfectly, and whatever.
But we got what we got. We got Kenny Clark and Jair making the most money on the defense. Hopefully the other guys can pick up the slack, because there's plenty to pick up. And Jordan Love, earn your money, buddy. All right, you guys have been great. Be good. Take care of yourselves, and we will catch you guys soon. Next time some big player signs a contract, we'll be there because we break all the news to you.
Yeah, we probably won't do a show next week because I don't know. I think it's family night or something next week. It's kind of boring. There's not much going on. Yeah. But the week after that, unless something crazy happens where they trade a guy or whatever, then we'll start talking. Once we start seeing some games, we can actually see guys play. I don't think we're going to go to camp this year like we did in the past couple of years. But yeah, I know I'm not going back because I can't.
But now Jordan Love will practice. So
right. Well, last year was the best. Last year we went when Bill Belichick was there, and it was awesome. Watch Bill Belichick coach, and he gave frickin' Devontae Wyatt a frickin' mid-5 after he made one play, and then Devontae Wyatt he worked so hard that one play that he had to sit out the rest of practice. But
all right, be good, stay good, everybody. Thanks, bro. Everybody, enjoy life. And we'll be back to talk more stuff, more BS with Haven Bros. Tell me why,